And good Tuesday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray as we start this day together, calm before the storm, so to speak. We have severe weather moving in tonight into our area by daylight at 6 a.m. tomorrow. This will be a different story from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, that's a long window. I know what you're thinking. It's a very serious storm that is approaching us. As we pull this up, let's go ahead and show you what is brewing to our west. This will be moving to our area tomorrow. Overnight hours, we're going to see a lot of rain. As we go to Meridian Honda radar, we pull this up, and if we look out to our northwest, west, we see that we have two tornado warnings. Well, one just expired. No, we've got two still in Oklahoma right now, Swanee, Oklahoma, and also right here near Ada, Oklahoma. I think that was where Blake Shelton was from. Two tornado warnings there. As we go south of there and we drift into Texas this morning, we're showing we have two tornado warnings also just to the west of Fort Worth in these areas there. Here's Denton, Texas. This is going to be to the southwest of there. Two tornado warnings. Now, with that being said, what is coming tomorrow? The Meridian area has now moved up to a level 3. As we look at this, see this pink shaded area? This is a 3. It's not a 4. 3 is very serious, though. We could see tornadic activity tomorrow, and it could fall anywhere again from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is going to be pretty much, as we zoom in this, let's look. This starts at Kemper County, Neshoba County, and goes due south all the way to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. This will include Livingston, York, Demopolis, Lisbon, Butler, Linden, all of these areas over to Thomaston, Alabama. Chatham, y'all are in this also. Now, this goes right along here, and it'll be just south of Carthage, taking in that southeastern corner there of Leake County. Now, we've got all of Morton, Scott, that's Forest, those areas there, including all of Newton, Smith, Scott County. Y'all are in this level 3. Again, could be very serious weather as we turn to this. And we'll get back into the forecast here in just a moment as we track this. If you don't follow my page, you just stumbled upon it, make sure that you follow it. We will be live whenever the threat becomes a serious issue here in our area. When I always refer to this Meridian area, I'm talking about this general area of all the way from Carthage over to Scuba to ML, Alabama, all the way down Newton. All of that is included in what I call the Meridian area as we look at radar on that standpoint. So we'll be here for you to cover it. Safety is the utmost. We could see very strong thunderstorms with this. We could see tornadic activity. We could see wind gusts of up to 70 miles an hour with this and golf ball size hail as this storm approaches tomorrow. Now, again, this is a long track. This isn't one of those that from 6 to 8 a.m. and it's over. It's an all-day event. It could happen at any time. And as this approaches, we'll be able to fine-tune it a little bit more as we watch radar. But the heads up right now, 24 hours out from this is 6 a.m. in the morning until 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. It's about 12 hours. We'll be checking with Stormin' Norman. He'll be our guest as we get into this later on in the day. We'll talk to him. I think I've got all the equipment back working correctly in the studio as we get ready for this. So we'll be here to walk you through this and talk you through anything that comes through our area. And that's how we're starting out this Tuesday. Right now it's 60. Let's turn this off and take a look at radar before we get into some of our headlines that have affected the area. Now, let's go back one last time. This is today of what we're looking at. Let me turn this off where you can see this. This is what's going on today as we go back to Meridian Honda radar. This is the area. And again, we could see some thunderstorm activity with a level 2 there into the nighttime area. The level 3 is just to the west of us in the overnight hours. That will stretch from Lufkin, Texas, all the way up to Scott County. Tomorrow, it shifts and takes in all of this area here. So we'll be involved in this. Let's turn it off and look at radar this morning of what's going on real close to us here. As we turn that off, right now we're looking good. We do to the south of us have a aerial flood watch taken in Macomb and areas there along east of Slidell, right before we get to Biloxi there. No rain in the area right now in our neck of the woods, but again, out to our west, you see this brewing here. Some bad weather with 4 tornado warnings issued this morning already to our west in Texas and Oklahoma as we start this day. Hope you're feeling well. We're going to get into your headlines in just a moment. Got some interesting ones today of things that have gone on in the area. Right now, let's take a moment and pause, and let's do a good thing. Let's head out to Collinsville. Pastor J.J. Nelson wants to join us this morning. He's going to talk to us about fellowship today. We all need a little bit of that, don't we? Especially at the holidays.
What are you looking forward to most this Christmas season? Is there a favorite dish you always enjoy eating? Is there that certain gift you really hope someone gets you? Perhaps you are just looking forward to the fellowship that comes from being with friends and family. It is always a sweet time to be around those whom we love. Still, nothing compares to looking forward to a time dedicated to remembering our Savior's birth. Incredible, right? The God of all creation, the Creator, took on human flesh as a baby to save us, all from the power of sin and death. Perhaps even more incredible is the fact that all of the Old Testament pointed to Jesus. Looking at scripture like Isaiah 42, it points to the coming Messiah hundreds of years before his arrival. When we look forward to Christmas, keep in mind how all of the saints of the Old Testament look forward to the one day when Jesus would eventually come. Brothers and sisters, praise God. He is here. He has come. Emmanuel, God is with us. May your heart be delighted to walk in the grace and mercy of the Lord Jesus this Christmas season. Change for our life begins in Jesus. So by trusting in Him, change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Probably got some of your friends already going to the church there in Collinsville. Drop by, visit with them. They'll be there Wednesday, and they'll also be there come Sunday. We'll check with them about the weather forecast and if church is held tomorrow night. Bump into somebody you know, I'm sure. Don't forget this morning at 8 o'clock, join us back as we'll have a special guest this morning, Tybell Lindsay, councilwoman, District 5, Ward 5 is how it's worded, for the city of Meridian, will be joining us. She's going to be talking about a local business that is starting in Meridian. Plus, we're going to ask her some questions, things that, well, a lot of you have been asking all morning. So if you've got a question, be ready to put that in the comments this morning beginning at 8. And again, you'll be able to watch us on television with that interview, YouTube, also here at Facebook. Any of those places you can put a comment and we'll be able to ask her. So we ask you to join. A lot of obvious questions that we'll ask out of the gate and get her input on what goes on. She's been questioning others lately. We'll find out what she has found out. I hope you'll come back here. And again, that all begins at 8 this morning. Now, we'll also get into more detail this morning at 8 about shots fired last night. Boy, there was a bunch of them. Over and over and over. It was pop, pop, pop. Drive-by, shooting in the air. We'll get into some locations beginning this morning at 8 and tell you more about that. It was some of our usual areas that we'll be talking about. Now, one thing that we need to start out with, I've spoken with Sheriff Billy Solly over and over. Maybe you've had a chance to read this post as we go here to find out that a social media threat was made to a local school. As you read into this, Billy Solly confirmed that there was a situation at Clarkdale to where a student threatened several students. I do believe the student was angry. As we get into this, they're tracking the digital footprint on this to make absolutely sure that that's what the problem was, that it originates to that person as they do all of this. And it's an investigation. They will have heightened security today at Clarkdale. So don't worry that the Sheriff's Department is not taking extra precautions. Every threat that is made that involves a student, they go that extra mile to ensure the safety. They will have extra officers on hand this morning at Clarkdale to ensure that all is well. And as I put into this post, I want everybody to understand when you get mad, even if this is you didn't mean it, it is still taken as a threat in the state of Mississippi, and it is prosecutable in the law. We'll see if that was the case with this as they continue to investigate this, and the safety of the students, faculty, all of those are the utmost importance here in Lauderdale County as this moves forward this morning. Always pray for our youth and our teachers. They go through a lot that a lot of us don't understand. As I mentioned, I spoke with the sheriff several times yesterday. We had an incident out of the training facility. Our training facility brings in a lot of people from all areas for training, other police departments, and that's what was going on yesterday afternoon. A Laurel PD officer was there training when he went to remove his revolver From his holster, the gun fired, striking him in the leg. Other officers were on hand. They grabbed it, and they done a tourniquet around his leg and rushed him to the hospital. It was not life-threatening. After a couple of 3 hours there, we all know how it is when you go to an emergency room of how long that takes. He was released and going to be okay. No main arteries were struck. By the grace of God, it was a nick. It didn't hit anything that could cause him problems later on. Thank goodness. That's a good ending to that story. But that did happen yesterday. If you heard all the sirens and the police making their way to the hospital, that's what went on. Now, as we go back here to take a look here with the Meridian Police Department has sent us, we got a update. Yes, sir, Bob. We've got an arrest. And as we look at this, the Meridian Police Department tells us that the camera system played a huge role into this investigation as an arrest was made. Jerome Stewart has been charged with the murder of Antonio Dunwell. This happened on the 20th Street, 29th Avenue. Again, this was right before the Christmas parade in Meridian. As we looked at things, is when these gunshots rang out. 29th Avenue, 20th Street is where it happened, there at a store. The young man died at the scene. It was an argument beforehand. From what I'm understanding, cameras caught a lot of this, and they will be able to turn this over. And again, you're a suspect until you're proven guilty into a court of law. We'll follow this story, but a good move because we've had a lot of questions about our camera systems. Are they being used? This time, we do know for sure that they were being used. That is great news for us here as we look at this. Another story that is coming up that we got from the city of Meridian. Medical Marijuana Association is going to host an event the 15th at the Holiday Inn. So if you want to know a little bit more about this, we posted this last night. City of Meridian sent us this information. It begins at 5:30 until 7:30 at the Holiday Inn on North Frontage Road. So if you'd like to know more about that, we're going to have a whole presentation on this to learn more. So it might be the place you need to be here in a week or so. Let's see what else we've got going on. Don't forget, out in the West Lauderdale area, we've got a bridge out. It's going to be out for quite some time as we pull this up. Bird Donor Road. If you travel this every day coming into work, you're going to have to get a new route there. It's going to be closed starting yesterday. Bridge replacement, as we all know, that does take quite some time. So this could interrupt you well into the new year. When we get more on it, we'll pass along more information on that. Rush will let us know when we know more. As we move to look around the state of Mississippi for headlines of things that have happened, we go to Jackson, Mississippi. Now, the incident that I'm going to tell you about happened, some 3 years ago. But what you do yesterday affects what you do today, doesn't it? We all know that there's consequences. The lady was in an argument. She hit another young lady with her car on purpose. The girl was taken to a hospital. She's been in a coma. She has now passed away from her injuries from 2017. This upgrades this to murder. Sad. She was in a coma and she's passed away. A judge has sentenced the woman to 40 years in the custody of the Mississippi Department of Corrections. 10 years of that suspended, so that means she gets 30. Brittany Carter, convicted of second-degree murder. Consequences for every move that you make like this. Never forget that. We have a man that's been arrested. This is horrible. It makes the hair on my arm stand up. I don't know any other way to put this as we look at this. He was arrested after a 4-month-old was found unresponsive in a motel room in Biloxi. And they went into the room, they would find drug paraphernalia. How do you say it? Paraphernalia? Did I say that wrong? Found a bunch of that. He was in charge of caring for the child. The child was rushed to the hospital. Hopefully it's going to be okay, but he's been arrested and charged with numerous charges. Controlled substances, felony child abuse, and the list goes on and on. When dealing with children, there can't be enough punishment, can there? They are our future. They are your sons, your daughters, and your grandchildren. Sad, sad, sad. As we look, Vicksburg, they made an arrest of a couple. I don't know if they're dating or not, but they were from the Jackson area visiting Vicksburg. And they thought, well, while we're here, why don't we just borrow a few things? They did. They've been arrested for burglary. Both of them, 30 years old, making their way through 2 different stores They'll do the time for what they done. We see this all too often. This time we go to Tate County, Mississippi, as we see yet another teacher involved in a sexual relationship with a student. The teacher is former now, and she has been officially charged with sexual battery involving a teenager. She is 25 years old. Karen Cowell, she has resigned her position. Is it me, or did we just not hear these stories before? Were they put on the back burner and no one knew about it? Has it always been this way and we just didn't know it? I don't have an answer to that. I see it more now. Maybe it's that I talk about it more, but I just don't remember growing up hearing much about that stuff. Do y'all? It could have been, and I just didn't know that. This is a pretty big deal for Jackson State. Charles Barkley, well, him, famous guy. He's donating $1 million for research there. That's good for them to get the money there. Proud for them. Every now and then you get hungry. We've all been there, and you stop into a local place to eat. Let's go to Tupelo, where a man got angry at the folks at Hardee's and threatened them. Didn't end well for him. He's been cuffed and stuff for threatening employees of a fast food chain. Why you want to do that? Get your biscuit and move on. He's been arrested. We go to West Point. I'm sure all of us have been there. It used to be the home of Bryan Brothers. It's due north of here. You go to North Mississippi, you can't miss it. Bryan, no longer there. I don't believe it was bought out by someone else, but that used to be the big industry there in West Point. A 42-year-old man, Campbell, has been charged with aggravated assault along with several misdemeanors. What did he do? He stabbed somebody. I say all of this as we move around the state of Mississippi to show you what happens everywhere. Crime has gotten out of hand nationwide as well as in our state. We watch all of this. A Boonville man charged with molesting a child. We see way too much of that, don't we? He's 33 years old. The child was a minor. We go back to Noxubee County, which is due north here. We have a lot of folks that watch us from the Noxubee County area. They're installing cameras in some very, very big high crime areas in the county. That's good for Noxubee. We're proud of that. And again, they have yet to identify. And you remember we talked about this one day this week. I think it was yesterday that we talked about it. It could have been Friday. But they found a body in Noxubee County, a decomposing body. They have yet to identify it. It's still unknown. We'll keep a close eye on that and pass along that information once we get that. Hattiesburg, they've been busy. Auto burglary. They've made a big arrest in that of somebody that was going from car to car doing that. That's a big crime here in the Meridian areas. We watch that all the time, especially at hotels. Out-of-towners, unsuspected. They don't know the area. And they just go from car to car at night, seeing if they can find one that's unlocked, so to speak. A skating rink, as we look at Jones County, the Laurel area down in there, they had a skating rink burn. Fire marshals are investigating that. I don't know about you, but I never could skate. I did try once. It didn't work out for me. Columbus, Mississippi. Nice place there. One of their patrol cars has been destroyed. Small chase there, hit a light pole. It's destroyed. They'll have to buy a new one there. They got insurance, though. I bring up this next story because I often get messages from the Lauderdale County area of someone riding down the middle of the road on a, do you call it a scooter? One of those, it's, the little, like a wheelchair that's automatic, so to speak. My mother's got one. Picky man, they call them an electric scooter. He was doing that. He was pulled over for riding in the middle of the road, but he had a list of, he had a bunch of drugs on him. He'll pay the piper for that one. But it is very unsafe. If you do this, don't ride these in roads. I can't tell you how many comments I've gotten about that. You come around a curve and there's a scooter in the middle of the road. Someone could get seriously hurt. And I think y'all know what I'm talking about that. Let's see here. Pearl, Mississippi. We go there for a headline this morning to find that a woman's been found deceased in an apartment. She's been there for 2 weeks. They don't expect foul play. That's awful. Took 2 weeks to discover that. Check on your neighbors. And I bring that up. I know that it's one of those you go, oh, why did you have to talk about that? That serious thing. Check on your neighbors. Every other day or so, make sure they're okay. As sometimes there's folks that don't have family. They depend upon their friends and neighbors to help them. Do y'all remember, let's see what we've got. We got somebody that was I don't know if you remember this from Death Wish. Do y'all remember watching that with Charles Bronson, one of the developers in the TV show? They've got this, and I'll show you his picture. He was in several movies. He was on Rockford Files, and let me go back. I messed that up. I lost the picture on that. This is from Daily Mail. You'll remember this. Let me pull this picture up here. Do y'all remember watching that as, remember that guy? He's passed away at the age of 82. He played a lot on Rockford Files. And again, he was on that TV show with Charles Bronson, Death Wish there, where he was the developer guy. Gave him a gun, if I remember that. He has passed away. The Twitter stuff just keeps on going as we look at all of this over and over and over. There's a lot of news sources not covering it, not caring what Elon is putting out. It's the truth as he puts it out, whether they like it or not. We'll be right back. We're going to look more into this forecast next as we begin this day. Stay with us.
If every time the wind blows, you get a little leery about a tree over your house, talk to my friends at Reed Tree Service. There's no reason to be worried about a tree crashing through your house. Mike Reed has years of experience dealing with trees. It can be as simple as having a limb removed or a tree that is just huge too close to your shop or house. It's not going to cost you anything to have Mike come out and give you an estimate. They're licensed and insured, taking care of East Mississippi and West Alabama. Reed Tree Service. Have tree, will travel. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built-in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group.
Again, we'll get into that stormy forecast in a moment. I had several people asking about the head coach of Mississippi State. No change at this point. I think it is at a waiting point. Prayers to that family as we look to Mississippi State as a head coach in critical condition, still at a hospital in Jackson. We started this at 6:30. I have not seen any updates since we began. Should something change, we'll let you know immediately with that.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
We start with our record highs and record lows of the day. Back in 31, it was a hot day, 81. 1962, you may remember that you couldn't get warm enough today. It was 4 degrees on this date back in 1962. As we look across today, clouds for the most part, 68 could be our high for today as we look at this. Out to our west, again, rain will be in Louisiana, serious storms as we get ready for heavy rain in our area for tonight. We look at Bama, 66 today in Demopolis. We'll see about 65, 66 right along there over at Livingston University. As we look at this, again, the flash flood threat is elevated. This is going to be a level 2 for flash flooding for tonight into tomorrow. 2 to 4 inches of rain in less than 3 hours is expected. 5 to 7 inches is possible, and that's where we get into flash flooding, these low-lying areas. Y'all be prepared for all of this. It's coming. This is not one of those, I don't know. We're getting some serious weather on our way with lots of rain in the area. As we look at our timeline of what is coming, as you'll see there, we looked at our radar system. We'll go back into it in a minute. They're updating this now to 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. from the National Weather Service. That was updated just a moment ago. That line is from Kemper County all the way across this level 3 here through Neshoba County, taking in Leake County. Everything north of there, Winston, Noxubee, will be a level 2 northward. Everything south will be a level 3 to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Be careful. Keep this in mind. The overnight hours, Jackson area to Vicksburg from 1 a.m. until noon Wednesday. Our threat in the central Mississippi area, again, from Jackson east, this includes all of this area here, will be 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. As we look at the high winds, this is going to be strong here. And this is where Reed comes in with those trees. Do not stay in a room, sleep, that has a tree that overhangs your house. Wind will make a tree limb fall, could come through your home, and we don't want you hurt. As we come across the Alabama threat there, not as big as it is in Mississippi, but Demopolis, these areas here, Livingston, y'all are included in this level 3. Make sure that y'all are well aware of what's going on. We'll be here for you as we track this weather. That was an old one there I didn't update. As we look at our temperatures, now let's talk about that. As you see that turning blue, there are starting to be rumors of snow in the forecast. Oh, yeah, about the 23rd or so, right before Christmas. We'll be on this. Now, that's a week and a few days, about 9 days out, but it's in the forecast now. We'll keep you updated on that. We could have a white Christmassy time. It's possible. We'll let you know. We're going to get through the tornadic activity and storms that move in tomorrow. Then we'll start focusing on the excitement of possibility of snow. I've already contacted Joe at the Pig, told him to get stocked up on bread, just to be on the safe side. As we go back to look at our 7-day forecast, brought to you by our friends at Wilson Saw and Outdoor Power. 66 today. Looks to be that high. As you'll see tonight, rain moves in with 100% chance of rain tomorrow with thunderstorm activity. Severe weather on the way. Temperatures start dropping, as we'll see here. 58, 52, 49 for the weekend. Not getting out of the 40s for the high. It's going to make deer hunting great this weekend. We'll see 51 on Monday. As we look to this, right here is where we start seeing right there snow. The 23rd in the forecast out there, and possibility on Christmas Eve as well. Again, we've got to watch all of this, and things can change in between now and then. But the word is mentioned, so it just makes us happy just to be able to say it, doesn't it? As we look to the fishing forecast today, well, it looks to be good about this afternoon, 4 o'clock. 4 to 6 p.m., 4 to dark 30 if you want to hit the water and go fishing. Pretty good weather, not bad at all. It's an average day is what they're forecasting for that. What's happening with our deer? Well, let's go out to Collinsville Meats to find out what our perfect time to hunt today is. First major time is going on right now through 7 o'clock. 2 minutes left on that. You'll get a second major time right at dark 30 is the best I can give you. You got some minor times there, but it'll be dark before the next time rolls in. Not as good today as we'd like it, is it? But that's a quick look at our forecast. We're 1 hour and 1 minute away from another show. Again, our special guest this morning is going to be Tybell Lindsay, city council person, as we'll talk to her about what's going on in the neighborhood, what is expected and all. Again, we watch the weather. Make sure that you follow us in some shape, form, or way, whether that's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, and we'll keep you updated all the way around from Twitter to keeping you updated at Fox 30 as well. Thanks for being a part of it. We'll see you in 1 hour as Candace makes her way here as we begin your Tuesday at the Scotty Ray Report. Thank you all so much. We'll see you soon.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: